I want to ask you a question. And it's going to be a bit of a weird question, but do you think suffering is important? Do you think it's something necessary? Now, hold on to that answer of yours, because today we're going to be talking about Buddhism, or the religion of Buddha, or Buddhism, like we mostly know it by. But we're going to be talking about what are some of the things they believe in, some of the things they think are real or know is real for them. Because everything is totally dependent on the person talking. So we're going to be talking about their origins right now. Some of you may have heard the story, some of you may have not. But this is the main reason that, unlike Hinduism, like we talked about in the last video, Buddhism can be traced back to a beginning where it all started. So this is how it starts. Sihadra, which is the Buddha, which means enlightened one. And sorry if I butcher the name again, but Sahadra's father did not want his son to become a religious leader, so he tried to shield the young prince from ever encountering life's suffering. Sahadra was a prince born into royalty, and well, like most royalty, your life is dictated for you. People tell you what to do and how to do it. So Sahadra's father did not want his son to become a religious leader, so he tried to shield the young prince from ever encountering life's sufferings. He was sheltered in the lap of luxury, living in a beautiful palace, surrounded by lovely women, fed the best of food, clothed in the finest linens. He spent his days walking and riding his horse through lush green parks. Not a bad life, right? Royalty, rich, you have everything you can want. But one day, nearing his 13th birthday, as he was riding in a park outside the palace gates, Sihadra encountered 4 men, one after the other. One was horribly sick, covered with sores. The next was an old man, tottering on his cane. The next was a dead man, a rotting corpse, being carried to his grave. And finally, Sahadra came across a monk who had renounced the world and simply begged for his day-to-day food. This man seemed happy and at peace. So he saw 4 people, and they had a deep impact on him. So let's keep reading about it. The sudden revelation of life suffering made Sahadra realize that he could no longer live his luxurious, sheltered existence. So late one night, he kissed his wife and child goodbye and rode off into the wilderness. He removed his fine clothes, cut off his hair, and wandered for 5 years seeking the answer to life's pain. He went to great lengths of self-denial, starving himself, allowing the filth and vermin to accumulate in his body. His clothes started rotting away. So during this time, he went into self-denial. Or not denial, but like, he did deny pleasures to himself. So, didn't bathe, was always dirty, his clothes starting to fall apart, and all these crazy things that normally you wouldn't think about, especially from someone who's coming from royalty, right? These people are known to be having the best of everything, always enjoying their life and living the best that they possibly can with the money. But one day, overcome by exhaustion and weakness, he fell into a stream of cold water. The shock water revived him, and he saw that his self-torture was not the answer. He got up, washed himself, put on clothes, and went to a nearby tavern to have a meal. Then he went to sit under a fig tree to meditate. Now, this is where things get really impressive or important. So, let's read on. For 40 days and nights he sat, until the answer came, and in a flash of insight he became the enlightened one. He saw in a vision the endless cycle of birth and death and rebirth. He realized that all people were bound to that endless cycle by one thing, tanha, or desire. Furthermore, he saw that when he ceased to desire, he was free of all things. Thus he was enlightened, and there was the profound insight Sahadra would preach to his sangha, the community of his faithful followers. His message came to be known as the Four Noble Truths. Now, we're just going to skim over what the Four Noble Truths are. So, first one, all of life is suffering. To exist is to be unhappy, for we see all around us that everything is constant in a state of decay. So, that's one of the first beliefs that they have. Second, the cause of suffering is tanha, selfish desire and cravings. Everyone is always looking for something more. No one is content with what they have here and now. Okay. Three, the cure for suffering is to eliminate desire. It can be done, and only in this way can a person be released from the endless rounds of reincarnation. And four, the way to eliminate desire is to follow the Noble Eightfold Path. So they have a lot of step-by-step rules you need to follow. And they do also believe in reincarnation. Just like in Hinduism. But let's just talk about what are some of the things. What are the Noble Eightfold Paths? So there's the right viewpoint, understanding illness and how it happens. An example of it. Right aspiration, renouncing attachment to the world. Right speech, no lying or abusive talk. Right action, no taking of life, simple living. Right livelihood, having a job that doesn't support war. Right effort, using one's mind to produce good karma. Right mindfulness, retaining awareness and acceptance of the here and now. And right concentration, seeking solitude, meditating, enjoying peace of mind. So, in Buddhism, there is a lot of things you can do to try to escape pain. Or not escape, but in order to no longer be in the cycle of rebirth. And what they call the circle of emptiness, they think, at least from what I've been reading and studying up on, a lot of this is a path you need to follow. There's only one path, and the path is written down. You have to do everything everything it's written down there. Now, this may appeal to some people, right? Because there's only one right path, and because of that, you know what you have to do. But we know life is difficult. Now, let's read a Christian passage, or from the Bible. Let's read a passage. This one is 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 12 through 19. So here we go. Beloved, do not be surprised at a fiery ordeal that is taking place among you to test you, as though something strange were happening to you. But rejoice insofar as you are sharing Christ's sufferings, so that you may also be glad and shout for joy when his glory is revealed. If you are reviled for the name of Christ, you are blessed, because the Spirit of glory, which is the Spirit of God, is resting on you. But let none of you suffer as a murderer, a thief, a criminal, or even a mischief maker. Yet if any of you suffer as a Christian, do not consider it disgrace, but glorify God because you bear his name. For the time has come for judgment to begin with the household of God. If it begins with us, what will the end for those who do not obey the gospel of God? And if it is hard for the righteous to be saved, what will become of the ungodly and the sinners? Therefore, let those sufferings in accordance with God's will entrust themselves to a faithful Creator while continuing to do good. Christianity talks about how we will suffer, and as Christians, we may suffer more than normal. It's one of those things that in life, you can't predict a good outcome from a bad outcome. And by all accounts, life should be like flipping a coin. Right? If you flip a coin, 50% chance you get heads, or tails in my case. But if you do it 10 times, you're more likely to have 5 heads, 5 tails. But in real life, that's not how the world works. There's not a 50% chance you will be happy, and there's a chance that you'll be sad. Sometimes there's more sadness in this world, depending on the person, and sometimes there's more happiness. You can't predict these things, and even if you do follow a path, set step by step, that doesn't mean that it's always going to be easy or even achievable. Being a Christian means suffering, but at the same time, that suffering has a place, and you're not by yourself. There's nothing that you can do to earn your own salvation. There's nothing you can do to stop yourself from hurting or from things you can't control. But there is trust. There's trust that we can be with God and he will be with us no matter what happens. So I hope you learned something today, because I definitely did. talking about what Buddhism and Christianity is, and like how they relate. I do think I'm definitely gonna end up smarter because of this. But I thank you for joining me, and I hope I'll see you next time. And if you have a chance, flip a coin. Until next time, I'll see you.